guys, it is April from Getting Hooked With It. Today I wanted to do something a little bit different. I was watching Lauren from Lauren and the Books, who I just adore Lauren. She is like joy. She is joy in a person, and I totally am obsessed with her videos. And she did this video recently that was called June in the Moment, and I think this is a thing that she's starting up where she talks about what's going on in the moment for her and what she's consuming at the moment. And as she went through it, I was like, I need to do this. This would be perfect for like mid-month for me. So these might not be like my favorite things. I'll be doing that in like June favorites, but just to kind of catch up based on what I'm consuming. So I'm going to talk about things like podcasts and movies and TV and books, of course. Yeah, so if you're interested, let's get into it. Okay, so film. I haven't been to the movie theaters in forever, and I finally went last weekend with my girlfriend Stacy. We went to go and see Ocean's 8, and I have never been an Ocean's person. The one with George Clooney and Brad Pitt and everything. I've never really enjoyed them, but I loved Ocean's 8. It was, as all of the Ocean's movies are, it was such a huge cast. Mindy Kaling was in it, Kate Blanchett was in it, Sandra Bullock, and I was glued to it. Like, I think these are like way better than the men's versions. I really hope, because like it was an all-female cast, and you probably already know this, but I really hope that they do several more of these because they had such good synergy, and I really enjoyed it. So I went to go and see that. That was the last film that I've watched because Barry and I have been very much obsessed with TV lately. Now, usually we have very different tastes in TV. Like, if I want to watch something on HBO, I'll be watching that alone usually. But we do like reality TV. So I have roped him in to watching The Bachelorette with me. I love The Bachelorette. It's like my guilty pleasure that's no longer guilty because I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed that I love The Bachelorette. Now, this Bachelorette is Becca, and she was horribly broken up with by Ari from The Bachelor. He chose her in the end, and they were engaged, and then a few months after their engagement, on camera, he broke up with her on camera, and she had no idea that it was coming. He flew her out to his home and then broke up with her. And I have to say, rule number one for breaking up with someone, go to them. They need support after they're being broken up with because they're emotional. So the idea that he made her fly to see him, like, I don't think I'll ever forgive him just for that. So Becca is the Bachelorette, and I have to say she wouldn't be my top choice for Bachelorette just because she's just a very nice girl. There's not a lot of like, I don't know, there's been better Bachelorettes in the past. Like Caitlyn was fantastic, Rachel was fantastic, just people with a bit of sass. And I feel like Becca is just so nice that there's not really a lot of sass to her, and I feel like it's missing. The other thing that's missing with The Bachelorette is they might have like villains. You know how they'll have villains on these shows. They probably aren't very villainous, but the editors make them out to be villainous. But so they don't have a villain that Becca really likes, at least not yet. So far the villains, like that person has like no connections whatsoever to Becca. I think that needs to change, or it's just not as good a season. But I still love The Bachelorette because there's always drama. There is always wonderful drama, and you walk away feeling better about your own life. It's funny because I feel like all sorts of British booktubers and YouTubers generally watch Love Island, and I would love to watch Love Island if we could just get it across the pond. I would be into that. Okay, so the other shows that we've been really into are dance shows. I'm totally into World of Dance, which is hosted by Jennifer Lopez, and that's like in its second season, and I love that show. They're all like very professional dancers. And then I also have always loved So You Think You Can Dance. And those are more amateur dancers. Like they might have a background in dance and they might have been dancing since they were 3, but they're only 19 or something. So they're like early in their career. But I freaking love these shows so much, and I make Barry watch them with me. And I don't know, so far he's on board. Podcasts. I have been listening to some really great podcasts lately. Katie from Life Between Words and then Molly from Molly Reads. They just recently created a podcast called No Thanks, We're Booked. And I am loving it. So I've listened to the first episode and I'm into the second episode. And the first episode is about internet friendships. So it's book related, but they don't exclusively talk about books. It really is a dialogue between friends, and it feels like I'm there sitting with them, just listening into their conversation. I'm so excited for this, and I'm super excited that it's weekly. I didn't expect for it to be weekly because that's a lot of work for them. But hats off to them. I'm going to be listening to that here on out. It's like, it'll be like #1. As soon as they upload anything, I will be listening to it. I have also been listening to a very scary podcast called Mabel. This is like performance art, and it's this woman calling someone named Mabel and leaving voice messages. And this woman is taking care of Mabel's grandmother, and she's leaving really eerie voice messages. And it's got a lot of I'm thinking of ending things vibes here. I don't know if this house is haunted, but it's broad daylight right now. I've been listening to it this morning. It's broad daylight, and I've been nervous and like even looking around me because I am so scared listening to it. And I think there's like 3 seasons, which makes me so happy. It makes me so happy. So I've been binging that lately. So go and check out Mabel if you're like into horror at all. I'm starting to try to get into more horror podcast stuff. I love listening to creepy stories. So yeah, if you're into that too, go check out Mabel. Oh my God. In terms of YouTube, I've got to say, Stephanie from That's What She Read is killing it right now. She really is. First of all, she is the one who introduced me to Mabel. I have to give her credit for that. She has just been putting out some really fascinating video topics. I think it was yesterday when I'm filming this, at least. Yesterday, she posted a video that was like, if you like this book, you should listen to this podcast. And that's where I found out about Mabel. So she has, you know, a podcast for a book like 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And it's so inventive. I just loved it. She also did another video, maybe a week or 2 ago, about, it was like classic and contemporary pairings, but a horror edition. So she ties things like Rebecca and Gone Girl, and you might not think that there is very much in common there, but she like weaves those threads. And I walked away from that video going, holy crap, this girl knows her stuff. She really knows her horror. I mean, she is one of the hosts for Books in the Freezer podcast, but she is just killing it. She is like on a creative, I don't know what, but if you have not subscribed to Stephanie from That's What She Read, yeah, You really have to. Okay, books. So this is the end of the video, and I thought we would end it with books. And what I'm reading right now, I'm reading 3 books right now, which is very abnormal for me. I really try to read just 2 books. I read a physical book and then I read an audio book. So the audio book that I am listening to right now is Sweet Francaise by Irina Nemirovsky. This is a World War II historical fiction book. And the author actually lived in France during German occupation, during World War II, obviously, and she was killed in that time. So she wrote this book, and soon after she was killed. Now, this is not meant to be autobiographical, but I have to say, I cannot listen to this without thinking of her and what she experienced. The fear. I've read a lot of World War II fiction before. I've never felt the fear. This is like visceral fear. And so realistic because she's lived this, and I can't even say that I'm enjoying it. And I have to say, like, when I'm finished this book, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to rate it on Goodreads because I feel like I'm rating her life, and I don't know what I'll do. I will say there are a lot of characters. I'm not following that. I think because I'm reading it via audiobook, like, I think that's the issue. And if I was reading the physical copy, maybe I would be able to keep track of who is who. But it honestly, it doesn't even really matter. It doesn't even really matter. I will say, like, the characters are not all very likable. She really looks at class in France during World War II and what happens to class in France during wartime. That just kind of, it's still relevant. Like, the upper class still believe that they should be the first to be saved, or the first to get food, or the first to get lodging. But it's wartime and all bets are off, and it just shows the arrogance of that. It's really interesting. I'm really, again, I can't say the word enjoying it, but I'm really glad that I am listening to it. Finally, God, that's been on my freaking radar forever. Like, I think that was in my spring TBR last year and this year, so I'm doing it hopefully before the 21st. We'll see if that happens, but I'm doing it, so that's good. Okay, so I'm also reading, here, I'll put this one. I'm reading Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. I am reading this right now with Julie from A Girl in a Book, who is my dear friend, and another dear friend, Katie from Life Between Words. I'm just at the start. I think Julie's like way ahead. I'm on page 31. Wow. Really gotta step it up, but it's a gorgeous day out today, so I'm gonna go and sit outside in a little bit. I have to go to the Apple store first though, because my battery, is anyone else experiencing like horrendous battery issues with their iPhones? I have an iPhone 6 and it is like, I started my phone this morning. It was fully charged. I watched a little bit of YouTube for half an hour and suddenly it was at like 42%. I'm like, what in the world? In any case, I've got to go change my battery. Then I'm coming home and reading this sucker. And this is a thriller that I feel like everyone has read except, well, the 3 of us that are buddy reading this. And this is about a single mom who goes out one night and she meets a man and they kiss, and then the next day she realizes, oh my God, that's my boss. She also meets his wife randomly, and it's just all very awkward, and she thinks that something strange is going on. I'm confused so far. I don't know what's happening, but I'm enjoying it so far. But again, 30 pages in, you can't really tell quite yet. Now, what I can tell you very much is that I think that the Book of Negroes is going to be a 5-star read for me. It is so good. It is hard to read. This is about slavery, and we follow a woman who was stolen from her home in Africa and meant to or made to march to the sea. She's put on a ship and sent across to America. Now they're still on the ship where I am. I'm on just 100 pages in. But I swear to God, every page that you turn, something new is happening, and it's just, this is a page turner. Wow. And gorgeously written, and I'm so glad, because I think I have at least one other Lawrence Hill book on my shelves, so that makes me very happy. So yes, that is what's new with me. June at the moment. I just really love the idea of this video. Let me know in the comments below if this is something that you would want me to do every month, because it's just nice to like sit and chat and be super casual. I love that. So, okay, I will talk to you next time. Ooh, also let me know in the comments below what right now you're really into. If it's a podcast, if it's a movie, if it's a book, I don't care what it is. Let me know in the comments below. Yeah, I'd love to know, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.